about the Nigerian situation.
But if you did a bad job in the Senate, you and your colleagues, the Minister of Science,
look,
now that have been accused,
we can't do a bad job.
It's a bad job because now the man is being alleged to have perjured himself, alleged to have forged his document, and it went through screening. Mr. Nnaji, the Minister of Science and Technology and Innovation, he's resigned his appointment.
Look, don't go there. I don't want to talk about that, as I told you. This matter of forgery in Nigeria is a big problem, not only restricted to the political class, but even you now. I don't know your certificates if you are to
I have classmates. I have different.
Everybody, all of these people have classmates. All these people, Nnaji, you say Nnaji has classmates.
The question is that I've never come before the Senate.
Let's go and talk about what
why
is
are
more
you dodging
important.
away from the fact that
I'm not
if there was a shoddy job that was done by the Senate in screening such a person who said he said to have had.
We are not screening. Get it clear.
When the minister appears
and confirmation are two different things.
So when minister comes, the minister comes before the Senate.
We confirm.
And so if you see that the degree or the certificate is
how can we see
do your background checks on basic things?
Wait now, before the president sends a candidate to the Senate, there are a lot of processes, including screening him on not only on certificates, but doing a background check by the SSS. The SSS have to clear him.
So it's not your fault.
Wait, last time the SSS brought something against somebody, and we dropped the person. So it's not, don't say we are not doing our job. After all, we are just to screen. No, not screening even. We are not even to do the screening. We have to do confirmation. You know what confirmation? Go and check. That's your problem.
This is one that shall never do. No be smart here for Channel TV between Seun and this Ndume. You understand? This is Ndume. So concerning this certificate scandal or this man they call this man way they represent science and technology. You understand? So Seun they ask a question. He say the way that they be for that Senate, you understand? He say they don't do that screening well. The man say make sure you know you're good at science. The man they dodge question. Well, make una listen to what he talk. Please start watching the video. Share it to the comment section. I give you one for Chicago.
Do you think Nigerians trust what you do as a screening these days? Because he's a minister that has been accused.
No, you have just asked me a question. Let's stop there and don't go anywhere again.
I'm giving you a background to this question.
Which I'm asking you. No, you don't. You just say I should make comment. What brought me here is to talk about the misconception about the Nigerian situation.
But if you did a bad job in the Senate, you and your colleagues, the Minister of Science,
look,
now that have been accused,
we can't do a bad job.
It's a bad job because now the man is being alleged to have perjured himself, alleged to have forged his document, and it went through screening. Mr. Nnaji, the Minister of Science and Technology and Innovation, he's resigned his appointment.
Look, don't go there. I don't want to talk about that, as I told you. This matter of forgery in Nigeria is a big problem, not only restricted to the political class, but even you now. I don't know your certificates if you are to.
I have classmates. I have different.
Everybody, all of these people have classmates. All these people, Nnaji, you say Nnaji has classmates.
The question is that I've never come before the Senate.
Let's go and talk about what is more important. Why are you dodging away from
the fact that if there was a shoddy job that was done by the Senate in screening such a person who said he said to have had.
We are not screening. Get it clear.
When the minister appears
and confirmation are two different things.
So when the minister comes before the Senate,
we confirm.
And so if you see that the degree or the certificate is
how can we see
do your background checks on basic things?
Wait now, before the president sends a candidate to the Senate, there are a lot of processes, including screening him on not only on certificates, but doing a background check by the SSS. The SSS have to clear him.
So it's not your fault.
Last time the SSS brought something against somebody, and we dropped the person. So it's not, don't say we are not doing our job. After all, we are just to screen. No, not screening even. We are not even to do the screening. We have to do confirmation. You know what confirmation? Go and check. That's your problem.
Let me take you to why I invited you tonight.
Yeah.
You and your colleagues have decided that you are going to go to the United States and confront them. What will you be telling the lawmakers in the U.S.?
That what Ted Cruz and co said is not true. It's not true to say that Christians are being persecuted in Nigeria. It's not true. You know that it's not true. And thank God, this thing came up from Ted Cruz, and it has been lingering around. Dates back to 2020, and even if in fact Donald Trump in his first designated us as CPC. They call it CPC, that is country of particular concern, where a group of religion believers of any type are being persecuted. That is the act. So that means sanctions would be applied. We had a feel of it when Nigeria wanted to buy the Tucanos. The Leahy, that time there was the Leahy law. It's now a retired senator, stopped us from there. It took the late president a lot of lobbying and some of our people to convince them that the terrorists have no religion concern about it. They just go about killing. And we needed the Tucanos. Fortunately, during the tenure of Joe Biden, that were removed from the CPC list. What the TED and Co are now trying to do because of the recent incidences in the country, and unfortunately, again, when a particular reverend from Benue, went before the Congress, it started in the U.S. Congress before Ted Cruz case. Ted Cruz is coming up with a bill to design Nigeria specifically as CPC and also to impose certain sanctions. And this have far-reaching effect on not only Muslims, so to say, but Nigerians. Because that means, as we are fighting this war, majority, almost all the things that we use at the Nigerian security, the Nigerian army and security agencies use come from overseas. We don't even manufacture a bullet in Nigeria. So you see, when you have sanctions against a country like that, when now, even with those equipment, we're still battling with the issue of insecurity in the country, and it seems to be even spreading all over. So if you have that jack on this thing of clock of not having supply of what the armed forces need, I don't know. I don't want to imagine.
So it has a heavy implication, not only our reputation, but our diplomatic relations.
But now, if you go to I don't know whether you're a citizen or not, but if you come into America and they see Seun, they will start running and keep you, instead of you to spend like 15 minutes at the airport, it may take you a day, or it may not. You may not even be able to go in, because if they designate you as somebody of a particular concern or politically exposed, then you're there. Now, and they are calling even sections on the government, people in government, and particularly politicians, even businessmen of Nigeria. It will even affect our social,
So the plan of the Senate, as being raised, is that you and some of your colleagues will go to the U.S. Congress with the hope of maybe meeting a Ted Cruz himself and sit down and address the issue with the United States Congress. That's the plan, isn't it?
Yeah, it's part of the plan. But as I said, we have it's on Tuesday that definite position will be taken on the prayers of my motion. They read the motion, and all of the senators, majority of the senators, all the senators are in support of this motion.
You raised the motion today. What exactly was the prayer in your motion?
That's what I want to read it out for you here. The prayers are basically four. I think there are four prayers. First is to urge the federal government through Ministry of Foreign Affairs and security agencies and other relevant security agencies to enhance transparent and data-driven public communication, providing verified casualty figures and context to counter the misinformation. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, that's the second one, is to call on religious leaders, civil society organizations, and the Nigerian media as well as foreign media to communicate responsibly, avoiding language that could inflame sectarian divisions and fostering dialogue. Then the third prayer is to mandate the Committee on Foreign Affairs, National Security and Intelligence and Information, and National Orientation to collaborate with the executive in developing a coordinated national communication strategy to present accurate figures. If we had this kind of data, and it's in the internet and everywhere, Ted Cruz can easily be referred to all this. You see, what is happening in America on the average, and I'm glad you have been to America yourself. You know they are thinking. Somebody in, what is this place, Guzape? Somebody in Guzape, throughout his life, may never be to go to Gwagwalada.
Yeah.
So all he does is in Guzape because he has a grocery store, he has everything there. So his thinking is narrowed down. And they don't have open channels of communication, so to say, or media. Because if you want to hear anything reliably or near reliable, is you have to subscribe to CNN, you have to subscribe. Here we can juggle all those media, but in Nigeria, in America, it's not like that.
You have a very strong population of Christians in the Muslim-dominated Borno state, your senatorial district. And part of what, for example, Senator Ted Cruz is blaming Nigeria for is saying there is a mass murder of Christians. And so there are those who will look at places like Benue and Taraba, in Kwara South now, and those who are largely affected by some of these insurgency or this insecurity situation are in the Christian-dominated population. Do you think that global outlook of the situation is what has caused these reports? Because if you go to Benue, which is largely Christian-dominated, Plateau Christian-dominated, and you find out of 240-something people killed in one day, you find 235 that are Christians.
Yes.
So someone can summarize and say, there is an attempt to wipe out Christians.
I think that is I can say naive thinking or the perspective that they're looking at. I give you an example. Borno State. It even started there. And it did not start because of religion. The Boko Haram started, when they say Boko Haram, it means Western education is forbidden, whether you're Muslim or you're Christian. You understand? And they go after you. As it is now, I'm speaking to you, I'm from Borno State. The casualties, 80% or more of the people that were affected by Boko Haram are Muslims from Kanuri in that area. Even now, 80% of the areas that have been displaced are the Kanuri areas. I represent Borno South. The Christian-dominated local governments or so to say, where we have Christians are about 3 or 4 local governments. You understand? As I'm speaking to you now, so Southern Borno is one of the senatorial district that is least affected by the insurgents. If you go to all the local government in Northern Borno, except these local government capitals, all of the local governments there are displaced. They are in their local government headquarters, except recently where the governor, Baba Gana is deliberately and personally, taking interest in resettling some of these people. Even with that, the highest, my local government benefited highest in the resettlement because when he started the resettlement, 12 communities were resettled in my local government. As it is now, up to now, even in his local government, Mafa, I think there are only 2 or 3 settlement villages that he has resettled. So about how many? Getting to 20 local governments that are affected in Northern Borno where they are displaced. Muslim dominated. When Boko Haram was at its peak in 2014 or so, there were 120,000 people, Muslims, that were displaced in the far Cameroon. It was recently when the governor again makes deliberate effort to resettle them, to bring them back, in conjunction with this Ministry of Humanitarian and IOM, that they have reduced the number to 60,000. At the same time, let me give you another example from my own local government, from what we call the Goza East in the local government. They constitute about 6 wards. 60,000 of them were displaced and they ran away to Cameroon as refugees up to now that we are speaking. There's quite a number of them in Minwa, or what they call. But the government made effort. And let me also add that even that one, majority are the Christians, but there are still some Muslims in Minwa there. So I'm telling you that this issue of insecurity or terrorism affects everybody. I come from both Christian and Muslim family. You know that my mom is a Christian. My immediate junior sister of the same mother is Diana, and Martina and David and Naomi. Naomi was the one that on her own decided to be a Muslim again. So she became Aisha. This is how we live. Now let me give you the current president of Cochin in Jos.